Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
Coming up on this show, we find out more about Montego Bay from an award-winning hotelier. There's another way of helping those who are afraid of flying. And we also learn about volunteer trips. All coming up on the Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Hello again, dear listener, and welcome to the Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Later in the show, I'll be speaking to Captain Chris Foster from Easyjet about their Fearless Flyer course for those who have a phobia about flying and how they can help. And I'll also be speaking to Hannah from the Great Projects about going on volunteering holidays. You may not have considered doing these for a holiday, but I've done one and they are a very memorable experience, and we'll be finding out more about that with her later. But first, I'll speak to Evatt Bloomfield, who's the General Manager of Sunset Beach Hotel in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Evatt was recently voted Hotelier of the Year by the Jamaican Hotel and Tourist Association, and is also chair of a group of businesses and like-minded individuals around the Montego Bay area who help to ensure that the Montego Bay offers as much as it can to the visitor.
I'm Evatt Bloomfield, General Manager at Sunset Beach Resort in Montego Bay, Jamaica, and I'm also the Chairman of the Montego Bay Resort Board.
What is the Montego Bay Resort Board?
The Montego Bay Resort Board is actually an advisory group that provides guidance, assistance, recommendations through the Tourism Product Development Company to the Minister of Tourism in respect of recommendations to improve the product to see to development of tourism in this particular region. And the area that's covered are the parishes of Trelawney and St. James and a part of Hanover. So it is a fairly large footprint as far as the region is concerned.
How long has it been going?
It's been going well. It is fairly demanding but interesting. It is naturally totally voluntary. And it pulls together membership from the broader community and interest groups and stakeholders in the region. So it's the Hotel Association, it's the Chamber of Commerce, it is the major utilities, it is government agencies and NGOs. It is whomever in the communities that fall within its ambit that are interested in seeing to the growth, development, and broadening of the reach of the tourism industry and the products and services we have to offer.
Do you have a wide range of membership?
Oh, indeed. In fact, in reality, it is open to anyone who has an interest. So if you're a community group up in a district like Catadupa who have a particular unique feature that you think might be of interest to visitors, and by visitors we mean both local and international, and you are interested in getting assistance to develop on this product or theme, then part of our remit is to get your proposal in, take a look at it, examine, refine, and help see to its development, and where possible, assist in getting funding for this. So it is as part of the process of reaching out into the broader community, so there's much more buy-in at the local level, and therefore ownership of the industry by the Jamaican on the street, rather than just quote-unquote business interests who play their investment role.
So it's just about everybody.
Indeed.
The information you give out, so that goes to the whole population really, to help them, or is it just for visitors? Or?
Well, no. The fact is, the resort board is really not geared at becoming involved with or providing information to the visitor per se.
Right.
It is again to look at where might there be a facility that could be better developed to become a meaningful attraction. Or where might there be work that needs to be done or may be done to enhance the product within the region. Is there a community group, maybe artisans or artists coming together who are doing work that by virtue of you being able to assist them in getting assistance in further developing their craft, in marketing their product, in getting to market so that the individual and the community benefit? That is the thrust of the resort board.
Have you got anything planned for the next year or two?
Well, there are a number of issues on the agenda as we speak that the resort board is involved with and looking at. It goes from being involved with the rehabilitation, for example, of two of the major crafts markets here in the Montego Bay area that allow them to not only be in better physical shape, but also in supplying training and assistance to the crafts traders and craftsmen in again honing their skills, being able to better market their product, becoming a more welcoming facility, providing a facility and the ambience that will attract visitors to that site and people being more comfortable spending money providing for their livelihood. So this is one of the things that we are working on as we speak. Additionally, the whole question of looking at an area that may need better lighting, may need aesthetic improvement, may need security improvements that not only benefit the visitor but certainly benefit the local resident as well. And there are many of these that we're involved in. We are involved right now, in fact, also in seeing to some rehabilitative work, working through and with the parish council in the major cemetery here in Montego Bay. As you know, many cemeteries worldwide are a repository of so much history.
Yep.
And so it is part of our thrust to see that the main cemetery here in Montego Bay takes its rightful place, not only as a place that you revere and respect for what it is, but also for what it offers.
Yeah. Just reminded me of the cemetery back in the village back home. It's so old.
Yes, and it's beautiful and this is done.
Yeah.
So as I say, it is far-reaching. You know, here in Montego Bay we have what used to be the primary water supply source called the Dome, which is now which is a confluence of a couple of underground springs that 300 years ago people used to go to get their water. And there's a Georgian structure built over it that was where you went through to get it. It has been locked up and in disrepair for many years, decades in fact. And so we are now in the process of again working with the parish council at its rehabilitation, and not just to see to its physical redevelopment, but having access to the facility with the necessary storyboards that tell people who have passed it for decades and had no idea what this quaint little building was about. And that helps to tell the story of Montego Bay and what our ancestors used to live with and go through.
It's very important that's kept up. Congratulations on being awarded Hotelier of the Year. Can you explain the award and why you were awarded it, please?
The Hotelier of the Year award is one that recognizes an individual annually who is considered by his or her peers to have been, for an extended period of time, doing meaningful work, not only in respect of how well you manage the facility that you have direct responsibility for, but the level of involvement in the broader community and in respect of the association of which we are members. And I certainly feel very proud that they thought that my contribution over an extended period of time might be worthy of recognition. It has been many years of just doing the job that I love, the job I enjoy, and my involvement in issues relating to the associations and its activities on behalf of the membership, my involvement in community work, be it involvement with the school board, be it involvement with the resort board, be it involvement with adult literacy and other related activities. As far as I'm concerned, it's just doing what I should be doing because I enjoy doing it. And so being recognized for it is really, it is a fillip, but it's also really something that I don't know what to say. I like it, I enjoy it, but it's just doing what I do.
Yep.
You know, and I thank them for it, that much is sure.
Yeah. Well, congratulations again.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jim Cleland, and every Thursday between 12 and 2 p.m. on Secklo Sounds Radio, you can hear all things MK, where I will be bringing you local news, weather, traffic and travel, what's going on in Milton Keynes, and stories to make you smile. I will be raising the profile of different communities in our area and how you can get involved, presenting you with a music triple teaser, spotlighting local businesses and playing lots of music. Join me, Jim Cleland, for all things MK every Thursday between 12 and 2 on Secklo Sounds Radio.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on secklosounds.com. Still to come, how a volunteer holiday could be the right trip for you. And also we'll be looking at another way of trying to cure any fears of flying when we look at the Easyjet Fearless Flying course. But now I'm going to continue my conversation with Evatt, and we're going to talk about his hotel, the Sunset Beach, which is in Montego Bay, Jamaica. You're from the Sunset Hotel.
Yes.
How many hotels are under the Sunset umbrella?
There are 3 properties under the Sunset umbrella. There's the Sunset Jamaica Grand in Ocho Rios, which is a 720 room facility. The Sunset of the Palms in Negril, which is an 85 room facility. And in the middle is a resort that I have direct responsibility for, Sunset Beach in Montego Bay, which is a 430 room hotel. Each unique in its own right, each has its own look, feel, ambiance, beyond the size difference. And we as a group like to think, like to boast, in fact, that we are maybe the truest representation of Jamaican and Jamaicanness in the hotel business. It is Jamaican owned. Our owners are resident Jamaican living in Kingston for the most part.
Okay.
And therefore there's that commitment. They're going no place. And I for one enjoy the fact that there is this direct involvement, that they are here. We do speak the same language. We do understand the Jamaicanness that we speak of. And the property in Ocho Rios, the largest of the lot, it is a great resort, which is a much more a grander facility based on the size, the way its architecture is. It has a fairly extensive convention facility that caters to large groups for be it the teachers annually or the nurses association or many of the local associations and companies that have need for such a facility. While the property in the grill is your ideal hideaway for a couple of adults who just want a quiet, relaxing, back to nature type experience in a really eclectic setting. And the grill has its own cachet that appeals to a particular type of traveler, and it is an absolute gem of a resort. The Montego Bay property that I have responsibility for is what we consider a fun facility. It is heavily oriented towards family traffic, and us having a water park lends itself very well to that. So we have significant numbers of families and children that come in. Located as we are on the peninsula of Montego Freeport tends to make it, on the one hand, close to the airport in Montego Bay, but by the same token, a little bit removed from the hustle and bustle of a more quote-unquote in-town location. And so it's the best of both worlds. You're removed, yet you're close to the action. You have a situation where the traffic you have is the traffic you live with, the people staying in the resort. And it's a great beach facility. Great for families because not only the range of food and beverage services that we offer, but a great children's facility that is appended to the water park. So if you want to sign your children in, which is 3 to 12 years old, completely supervised program, or teenagers who are, in my view, some of the strangest people on earth, into their own facility. That is supervised with activities that are geared towards them. And then parents can go lay on the beach or go play around with golf if they want to. So we are very fortunate to have the range and the variety in our portfolio. We are not a huge corporation with hundreds of outlets. We are only in Jamaica. And we work very hard at trying to provide the best that Jamaica has to offer, which is, amongst other things, evidenced not only by the hospitality of the staff and their friendliness and warmth, by the best jerk chicken you can find anywhere.
I'll take your word for that. I won't argue. Would you say most of your clients are American, or do you have Europeans as well?
We have European, and the ratios tend to fluctuate from period to period and year to year. I'd say on average between 55 and 60% of our guests at some periods of the year are American. In recent times, our European component has not typically gone beyond 15%. And in the winter months, it could be up to 40-45% Canadian. Them wanting to get away from the harsh winters they do. So it fluctuates from period to period. And fortunately as well, we do also enjoy significant patronage from the Jamaican community right here at home. Oh yes. Holiday weekends or otherwise, this is a location of choice for many Jamaicans who want to get away from home, spend a couple of days, spend the weekend somewhere they're comfortable and highly valued.
There's a famous customer complaint going around the UK travel industry.
Yes.
It took us 9 hours to fly to Jamaica, but it only took the Americans 4. It's just a weird complaint. There's sort of similar things. Nobody told us there'd be fish in the sea, that sort of thing. You don't want to, sometimes you don't want a European guest.
Yeah. But again, one of the good things is typically the European guest coming here stays for 2 weeks or longer. The average Americans 5-6 nights. So it's you make it worth the while coming all this distance, and we value that highly.
Do you do wedding packages at your hotel?
Well, significant. I mean, every week we have a number of destination weddings have become a staple in almost every warm weather resort, certainly in the Caribbean, but I know it's a worldwide phenomenon right now, and I think much of that was pioneered right here in Jamaica. We don't do huge numbers because we want to make each one special.
Yeah.
And the fact that we are as heavily family oriented, we do get larger wedding groups because then we have the capacity to accept everybody from the bride and groom to the young children and grandparents, everybody involved in a family setting that they're all comfortable with and have great opportunity for also re-establishing links in these families and friendships. We do them, we do many, we do them well, we value them highly, we believe it is part of a process of enhancing relationships, and so we give it all the necessary marks that they deserve.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Have you ever wondered what happens when an aeroplane gets struck by lightning? Well, later on in the show, Captain Chris Foster from Easyjet explains what does happen and how pilots do their best to avoid it happening in the first place. But first, back to the award-winning hotelier Evatt Bloomfield from Sunset Beach in Montego Bay, Jamaica. Changing tack a little bit, going back to the food. You mentioned you got the best jerk chicken.
Oh yes.
Would you ever share the recipe?
You know, I've spoken to my chef about it. I've tried what he's given me. I've never got it nearly as good because he keeps leaving out an ingredient or two. You know, it's one of those things. But without honesty, I mean, I must say that it is something that we in the industry feel good about. Food is such an important component in everybody's travel experience today. Regional, national cuisines. So many are establishing their own little benchmarks that set them apart from everybody else. And we think Jamaica, as a country, as a destination, has carved out its own niche for itself. Yes, we've got our coffee, which is world renowned. We won't get into track and field athletics. That's special. We leave that for another conversation.
Are you any good at that? I haven't noticed.
One or two people, you know. Music, which, hey, is world renowned. We, for many years, and especially in the hotel industry, have been working hard at ensuring that we broaden the reach, broaden scope, broaden exposure of Jamaican food, Jamaican cuisine. Further develop it by encouraging and participating in culinary competitions among the chefs on the island at different levels. So we use our creativity to expose many of the things that we consider routine and normal, different takes on the very items that are indigenous to Jamaica. And after we've done that, then also exposing it in many of our restaurants. So it is critical, and people come into Jamaica to, yes, enjoy good jerk, and no, you jerk everything, including the rope if you're not careful, is very important, and maybe the more widely known and respected special cuisine that we have brought to the table. So it's always exploratory, it's always discovery, it's always sharing, it's always learning and enjoying it.
Well, food's important to me, as you can tell.
Oh, listen, my primary role these days is the quality control check in the kitchen. It shows. I enjoy it and it shows. But yes, we're fortunate. You know, we have our challenges as a country, we have our challenges as a region. We are in what everybody knows is hurricane season, but we don't get many of them coming close very often. But we also use opportunities to see to the reorientation, retraining, the preparedness, the emergency responses to ensure that at the end of the day, whatever may come, we are ready, we're prepared, we can respond in a manner that ensures the satisfaction and the security of every guest that we have. And it is something we take seriously.
One day I might experience that. I mean,
Look forward to it. I look forward to it. There are many people who say they would love to experience it though, and I say, I don't want to do it for more than 2 minutes.
It's just so I can tell my clients how well they're going to get looked after. There's one thing saying you'll be fine, but saying I've experienced it and it's fine. And so
Yes. We have it down to a science. And one of the good things is that when you're talking about institutions like these hotels, low-rise on the beach provide its own level of vulnerabilities, but the building codes in Jamaica are such that almost every major hotel is well geared to withstanding whatever Mother Nature might throw at us in terms of wind and rain and everything else. So we're comfortable.
fine. We're right. You're not going to share your recipe for jerk chicken, but how can the listeners find out how they can experience it?
Well, wherever you're from, there's an opportunity to enjoy Jamaican jerk. I know that anywhere on this island, everybody knows he's the best man at doing jerk that you can find. In fact, there are a couple of companies that are in the business of meat production. There are CB Chicken, one of our poultry producers, for example, that has an annual competition where people from all over the country compete in different regions until it comes together to a major final, that's called the drum chicken competition. They actually 55-gallon oil drums that are converted to barbecue pits, and that is what you work on. And this is what you find in many a community all over this country, where people ply their trade, doing their jerk chicken on these, and absolutely delightful. There's a huge industry here that produces and provides a lot of the sauces and mixes and rubs that go into this culinary exercise. But be it Boston in Portland, which is where jerk was considered born, to, as I say, our beach grill right here at Sunset Beach. It could be Scotches on the other side of Montego Bay that has some of the best you could find anywhere. To their outlet in Kingston, you can head down to Alligator Pond in St. Elizabeth, or head across to Ocho Rios, the length and breadth of this country. We also know that in the UK, for example, Levi Roots has been doing a tremendous job in exposing and providing to his clients products related to jerk for them to purchase and consume, or buy and use in producing their own. In North America, there are a number of outlets as well that produce or use products sent from Jamaica in their various activities. A company like Grace Kennedy, an iconic brand in Jamaica, or Walker's Wood, or Busher Brownie, are all companies that produce tremendous jerk sauces and spices to be used that can be found nowhere else. There are imitators. There are many people now who like to stick the tag Jamaica and things they do because, again, they've been successful at it. But what I would do is invite you to come to Sunset. It's the best way to try to find out about it. Sit down at that table and get into it. Nothing like half a good jerk chicken and some hard-dough bread and a cold Reds right there. What a lunch.
That's it. Okay. Well, thank you for your time.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming to Jamaica and sharing your Jamaican experience with the world. We do appreciate it.
Thanks.
The Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. online at seclosounds.org. The best mix of music and fun to wind down your day. Listen out for a slice of cheese, the rotten tomato, and remember the beans. Intrigued? Don't miss the Drive Time Show with Nigel G every Monday to Friday from 4 to 6 p.m. on seclosounds.org.
Listen to the Sticks Radio Show with me, Terry Sullivan, here on Seclo Sounds every Monday from 10 a.m. with guests from the world of entertainment and sport across hearts, beds and bucks. The Sticks Radio Show, online at seclosounds.org.
You're listening to the John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Still to come, Captain Chris Foster from Easyjet will explain that turbulence isn't as bad as it feels when we talk about the Fearless Flyer course. But first, volunteer holidays, and in a moment I'll be speaking to Hannah from the Great Projects. Volunteer holidays seem to be taking off big time. I went on one 3 years ago, but it just seems like yesterday. And it is a great way to have a holiday that marks a special occasion. And I think they're well worth doing at least once in your lifetime, just to experience it. But anyway, here's Hannah to explain more about volunteer holidays.
Hannah, what is a volunteering holiday?
A volunteering holiday is, I would say, kind of a holiday with a difference. It gives you the chance to kind of get involved with the local community and the traditions, whilst also helping out at the same time. So here at the Great Projects, we offer volunteering projects with animals in various locations around the world. And our volunteers know that they're not only just contributing their time, but there's also a monetary donation to the projects that they're going on as well. So it's kind of continuing the cause as well.
Okay, isn't it just for gap year students and pensioners?
No, not at all. We actually have such a wide range of ages go on our trips, from anyone from the age of 18 all the way up to like in their 70s, and all the ages included. We have kind of like, because we can offer trips from like 8 days up to like 3 months. So it kind of works for people who only have a short amount of time if it's a career break, and it also works for people who are like students or retirees. So it's it kind of works across the board.
You said the Great Projects does animal projects, but are there those for people who want to help people and communities?
Well, our main focus is working with animals. However, some of our projects do have kind of a community element to them. And a massive aim of our project is human-animal conflict. So we've like a project in Namibia with desert elephants, and also a project in Sri Lanka with elephants. And that's quite a big human-elephant conflict, quite a big issue. And we've also got a project in Uganda with gorillas, which addresses that issue as well.
Elephants and gorillas are both on my bucket list, so I'll have to talk to you afterwards.
Well, you know where to go.
Yeah. Do you need any specific knowledge before you're accepted onto a project?
No, anyone can really join our project. You don't need any previous experience or qualifications, and we just want people to be enthusiastic and passionate about where they're going and what they're doing.
Can it be dangerous?
Well, on our project we work with local staff and facilitators who have knowledge and experience of the area, and their biggest concern is the safety of our volunteers. Obviously, with any travel, we suggest that our volunteers research the country they're travelling to beforehand, so they've got a bit of knowledge themselves as well.
You are working with animals, so you probably need some decent travel insurance. I can't see that the free insurance you get with your credit card or banks is going to cover you. Do you offer any assistance with that?
Yeah, well, we are aware that there are a lot of insurance companies that kind of get a bit worried when you say you're volunteering or working with animals. So in response to this, we actually teamed up with Ensley Insurance, and we offer bespoke insurance for our volunteers. So we have two levels. There's just standard insurance, and also an insurance that has the kind of additional clause for working with animals. And we kind of checked that everything covered in those insurance policies covers you for what you're doing on our projects.
That's good, because when I did it a few years ago, getting insurance was really difficult. The company I went through wasn't really that helpful, so you can really help.
Yeah, a lot of companies just don't quite understand the whole concept of volunteering. So yeah, we've kind of make it a bit easier for our volunteers, and a lot of people do notice that we have it, and add it on when they've booked as well.
Right. Some people might say that these projects cause more problems than they solve, with projects hindered by unskilled workers and animals exploited to ensure there's always enough orphaned or cute animals around to keep volunteers interested. Do you investigate that sort of thing?
Well, obviously, we are aware that there are problems in the industry for that reason. Unfortunately, that is just a case. The Great Projects, we vet all our projects in advance, so we make sure that they kind of work with our ethos as well. A lot of them are located within rehabilitation centres where the capacity for release of animals is very high. For example, our project that we offer in Namibia has released over 100 carnivores since it started.
So they do good.
Yeah.
What research should a traveller undertake when looking at a volunteering trip?
Personally, I would say it's always important to research where you're going and what the project is itself, so you've got a good knowledge of that before you arrive. It's also good to obviously to research the volunteering company and what they're offering you. So we always make sure that we don't really have any fine print. Everything is you can find it all on our website. Everything that's included in the prices is there in black and white, and we try and include as much as we can, so there's not too much that our volunteers have to add on after they've booked with us.
I went on a volunteer trip 3 years ago, but there seems to be much more variety now. Is it a growth industry?
Definitely. It seems like a lot more people are looking into volunteering and kind of travelling with a responsible side to it. And also there's so much more available online that gives people the opportunity to do the research themselves and see what's out there. Which is it's just brilliant that more people want to do volunteering as their holidays.
We mentioned your company name a few times already, but who are the Great Projects?
We're a small team, and we're very dedicated to the cause, and we're all well travelled, and we're passionate about delivering responsible volunteer trips, whilst also giving our volunteers the best customer care possible.
You're not a member of ABTA, but you're a member of the Travel Trust Association. Can you explain how that protects the clients, please?
The Travel Trust Association, we're with that, we call it TTA. It bonds volunteers money when they make a payment to us at the Great Projects to ensure that their money is safe and protected from any unexpected situation or circumstance before they travel. So, for example, if a project is cancelled or can't run for any fault of ours, then the volunteer will receive a full refund.
I've seen on your website you've won a few awards. What are they for?
The Great Orangutan Project has won 2 Responsible Travel Awards, and we've actually been shortlisted for the Best for Responsible Wildlife Experience at the Responsible Travel Awards 2013, which is really exciting. And our Gorilla Project was also listed on the Guardian Green Travel list.
Right, mention the gorillas again. You're doing the hard sell on me. What's your best-selling trip?
Our best-selling trip is the Great Orangutan Project. We started that about 9 years ago, I think, and it kind of was the first project that we started, and it's still, even now, it's still the most popular trip out there.
Yep, enough one on my list. I'm really going to have to start saving my pennies. Have you been on any of your trips?
My primary role in the company is customer care and sales in the UK office. But my colleague Harriet is our project developer. So she's visited the majority of our projects to ensure they fit in with our ethos, and some of our projects are actually designed by Harriet here, and she runs them throughout the year. But I am actually in the process of planning a trip to Sri Lanka early next year, I'm thinking, to visit 2 of our projects there.
Go on, mention you're going to go to the elephants one.
Yes, definitely. I can't help it if I could not go to that.
Yeah. Do you have any new projects planned for the next year or so?
Well, I just mentioned Harriet, our project developer, and she's always on the lookout for new projects. But like I said, we make sure that they fit into our ethos. So it kind of can take a little bit of time to develop them. We've been lucky enough already to work with some big names in conservation, and we're launching a project with the Jane Goodall Institute in South Africa, hopefully shortly. But yes, you never know what's going to happen next year. So just watch this space, I guess.
Okay, great. How can the listeners find out more about the great projects?
You can find out more on our website, which is www.thegreatprojects.com, or give us a ring on 0208 885 4987, which they'll probably end up talking to me or my colleague Ben. Or they could give us an email as well at info@thegreatprojects.com.
Okay, great. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks for your time.
Brilliant, no problem.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
This is Seclo Sounds, your community radio station. If you'd like to volunteer some of your time and skills with Seclo Sounds, send an email to volunteers@seclosounds.org and let us know how you would like to be involved. MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
The John Guinn Travel Show. Checking it out before you check in on seclosounds.org. Any website that's mentioned during the show can be found at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Now, fear of flying. It's something I've mentioned before on an earlier show. If you didn't listen, go to tinyurl.com/hipfly, which is HYPFLY, to hear about one method of overcoming your fear. But airlines are doing their best too to help people become less afraid when it comes to flying. And one such course is Easyjet's Fearless Flyer. It's broken into 2 parts, and now Captain Chris Foster is going to explain what each part does and how it helps, and 1 or 2 other bits of aviation questions I throw his way too.
Well, the Fearless Flyer course is a course basically envisaged to help people get over their phobia or their fear of flying, as the title would suggest. We've started running a course nearly a couple of years ago now, run a number of courses over that time, and really just help phobics retrain their mind getting over their particular phobia. And of course, when we talk about phobia of flying, there are a number of factors that can be involved. Sometimes it's just, for example, being claustrophobic. Other times it's the fact that they're not in control. And other times it's just simply they don't really know what the noises and the sensations are. It's just that feeling out of their comfort zone. So we try and help people through that path.
I did used to have a problem when I was flying. I was really bad. I had to have Valium in the end, and so I know how bad it can feel. And I think it was 2000 or 2001. The flight attendant, air stewardess, whatever, could see I was nervous, and she was trying to talk me through the takeoff procedures. But somebody didn't put the toilet seat down, so as soon as we got to a certain angle, there's a massive bang coming out of the toilet, and that sort of scared the life out of me.
I think it probably would, and to be honest, I don't think you're alone. A lot of people think they're alone when they come to sort of being afraid of flying. But I mean, obviously, our cabin crew deal with this on more or less a day-by-day basis. We've got about 1,300 flights a day now, and of course, this thing is actually quite routine. And what we do find is that there are a number of people that have got a fear of flying that actually have to fly, whether it's for business. It's very difficult to turn around to your boss and sort of say, well, actually, I can't go on this business trip because I don't like flying, because actually I might have to look for another job. So there's an awful lot of pressure on a lot of people, and you'll find that typically the numbers are even as high as 1 in 6 actually just don't like flying. So the course is really there to help people. if they do have to fly, is just to get them over that initial thing of, being comfortable. They won't necessarily love flying afterwards, but if they can do it without the anxiety or having to take Valium, or some people just will quite happily go and have a shot of vodka and tonic before they leave, because they just want to be relaxed when they fly. But the course is really all about training the brain and getting them to the point where they don't need to rely on their substitutes such as Valium or alcohol.
Yeah, I'm quite glad I don't take that anymore.
No, it's not nice stuff.
Your course is divided into 2 parts. Can you please describe what happens in each part?
Yes, certainly. The course has been split up over a couple of days, and the reason why this has been done is just to remove that anxiety. We've talked about the element before about sort of training the brain and understanding that. So the first evening course, we call it a course, but actually you could describe it as a show. Essentially, it's the main presenter is Lawrence Layton. He's a lovely chap. He's hugely talented. He's really, really good. And what we do in the first evening session, which is done typically at a hotel that's close by to the airport, is that we go through initially about understanding whether your fear is rational. Is it something that's rational? I mean, and usually that takes about sort of 20 minutes or half an hour. Then I come in and do my little bit. My bit's all about the technical aspect of flying. So I talk to the people of the audience about the sights, the sounds, the sensations, and we've got some typical questions that get asked week after week, and those I tend to run through just as a matter of course. And then we have a fairly open question and answer session, and this is really a great opportunity for the audience just to have a look at what they've had so far in terms of the information, and are there any holes in the information, and ask any questions. And there are no questions that are off limits. I'll be entirely open and frank with the audience in terms of any questions they want to ask. So I'll answer those questions for about 20 minutes or half an hour, and then we have a break. And then the second half is really Lawrence's main time to focus on the individuals. And without giving too much away, this is a focus on training the brain. So Lawrence has a few tools, 3 specific tools that he gives the audience in order to get over their phobia of flying. And these are sort of things, whether you've got a phobia of flying or maybe even you don't like spiders, you could still use the same methods. And it's all about sort of changing the track or changing your brain. Because if you're preconditioned to think, actually, I don't like flying, I don't like flying, and that's your total focus, it's very difficult to get off that. It's a bit like a broken record. You just go around that same track, time after time. And hence, that's why Lawrence has these 3 techniques. And the results are staggering. We did a course in Luton a couple of weeks ago. 100% success rate, absolutely fantastic. All the other courses we've done, we've had 95% plus success rate. So I have to say, wholeheartedly support the product. It's a fantastic product. And if anybody does have any anxiety or fear of flying, it's definitely the place to go.
What's the most common question you're asked during the question session?
I think one of the most common questions, to be honest, is that can two planes crash? Can they crash into each other? And there's obviously when you look at the sky above you, you don't really it seems as if it's completely open, it's completely free. Well, it isn't really. It's all very structured and a little bit like a road network, but there is a road network in the sky. So what people don't realise is that it's not haphazard. You don't just sort of take off from London, for example, from one of the London airports and head in a straight line towards Paris. That's not the way it happens. There are sort of corridors in the air, we call them, a little bit like you have roads on the ground. In addition to that, of course, there are a number of mitigations in terms of what air traffic control have, in terms of their collision alerting systems from an air traffic control side. And of course, on board, we have something called TCAS, which is Traffic Collision Avoidance System. And this is a hugely complex bit of kit, but it's fitted to all commercial aircraft. In fact, most, even general aviation aircraft have got it fitted. And basically, it's a system that would alert the pilots of an aircraft. If there was an aircraft on a converging track that was potentially going to be a conflict, it gives the pilots an oral warning to say, hey, watch out, this traffic's coming. If it gets within a closer proximity, it would then give avoiding action to the aircraft, but it would also give the opposite avoiding action to the conflicting aircraft. So therefore, you'd always maintain that separation because it would give you opposite instructions. So if I was in aircraft A, I'd be told to climb, aircraft B would be given an instruction to descend, ensuring that separation is maintained and, of course, conflicts are avoided. So although it's a regular question, and it's a perfectly normal question, it's a really good question, there's an awful lot of mitigation in place to avoid that happening. So no, in essence, a collision couldn't happen.
That's reassuring to hear. Do you have any really unusual questions?
I think we always get unusual questions, to be quite honest. And these questions are dealt with by the cabin crew. Our cabin crew on a routine basis. I mean, Easyjet cabin crew are within their training. We talk them about how to deal with passengers, and that's a key part of our focus. Looking after the customers, obviously, one of our key priorities, and that's really important to us. So we do get some bizarre questions. In fact, the last course we did, I think one of the phobics was more interested in how she could join the Mile High Club and how big the toilet was. So a little bit of a curveball question there. I didn't know quite how to answer it. So anyway, we'll perhaps swerve that one.
Well, that's quite a really good question, because the toilets aren't that big, are they?
Well, they're not that big, but it was quite funny that her phobia was, or her reason for getting over her phobia of flying was to join the Mile High Club. But anyway, we'll perhaps gloss over that one.
Yeah, okay.
It's certainly the strangest question I've had.
Happy Radio.
Hi, this is Russell Hearn. Join me Fridays at 12 for a little pick-me-up. I'll be playing the music that stirs those warm memories and takes you to a special time and place. And Minnie's here with her choice of fun apps for your phone too. So for a lighter look at life and some songs you'll never forget, tune in to seclosounds.org for some happy radio.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. There we go. There's a nice little challenge for you when you go on one of these Fearless Flyer courses. Try and come up with a more unusual question than how do I join the Mile High Club. We're now going to discuss whereabouts in the country these courses are run and how frequently.
Where are these courses run?
In fact, they're run nationally. We've done a number of courses already. We've done courses in Glasgow, in Bristol, I think we've done about 3 in Luton now. In terms of the next courses, we've got courses coming up of course we did Bristol last weekend. We've got courses coming up in Gatwick, Manchester, Liverpool, Stansted and Glasgow. In fact, the Gatwick course is only a week away, 11th, the course in the evening, 11th of October. And the flight, the second part of the course is, of course, the experience flight. That's the day later on the Saturday. And then the next one local to your listeners would be in Stansted, and that's the 15th of November, Friday the 15th of November. And the flying experience flight is on the 16th, on the Saturday.
Our biggest problem is turbulence. Are you able to demonstrate that on the experience flight?
Absolutely. We don't tend to. We take the weather it is. We can't influence that.
Mm-hmm.
What we will try and do, though, is we spend an awful lot of time during the evening course or the show talking about turbulence, because it's really important, to my mind, that the audience, the phobics, get a full understanding of exactly what's happening, and also the confidence that they know what's going on, and also how hugely solid the aircraft are designed in terms of withstanding turbulence. Mm-hmm. The big thing with turbulence quite often is, in fact, the perception. You feel as if you're being tossed around much, much more than you actually are. When you actually sort of realise that the sensation you feel in your seat is greatly amplified. If you look at the aircraft from the outside, what you feel is really bad turbulence might only be, say, 5 degrees or 10 degrees of roll on the aircraft, which actually isn't a great deal. So it's getting to that point. Your question specifically is about sort of, can you always cover turbulence on the experience flight? Well, the answer to that is no, you can't always do that. What we do try and do, though, is have an experience flight which is representative of the normal day's flying. So we do a normal taxi out, we do a normal takeoff, we'll climb up to altitude, we'll do a little bit of level flight. If we have the opportunity, if we can see, if the pilots can recognise there's a little bit of turbulence, we will actually head towards that, because actually it's really good to have the commentary. And while we're doing the experience flight, either myself or one of my colleagues will be doing a little bit of a dialogue, a little bit of commentary on exactly what's happening at all phases of the flight. So if you do go through any turbulence, you've got the reassurance of a captain in the cabin on the PA system, just giving you reassurance of exactly what's happening, explaining what's going on. But yes, if we have the opportunity to fly into a bit of turbulence, we would do. And we've had flights, to be honest, we've had flights in all sorts of conditions. We've had flights on really wet days, we've had flights on really windy days, and we've had flights on really smooth days. Actually, people are getting off with smiles on their face, regardless of the conditions of the flight.
That's good, a smile on their face. I just want to throw one question in because of a recent flight.
Yes, of course.
I was coming back from Jamaica last week, and there's a lot of thunderstorms in the area, and my wife was concerned about being struck by lightning.
Yes.
She said it's no problem, but can you just explain what happens?
Yes, certainly. Well, first thing to really mention with lightning is obviously there are a number of methods to try and avoid lightning in the first place in terms of rerouting the flight and avoiding bad weather, because obviously lightning comes with a certain type of cloud called cumulonimbus clouds. Now the important thing with that is that pilots, by looking at their weather radar, even before they leave, they look at the weather charts. They would always try and give a wide berth to that sort of weather, and therefore the probability of being struck by lightning is much reduced because of that. They're constantly monitoring the radar and making sure. Sometimes they can climb above the bad weather. Sometimes, if it's specifically very, very bad thunderstorms, it's not possible to climb above it, but you have to deviate around it in terms of changing the route of the aircraft to avoid the bad weather. So that's the first point to make. But your question more specifically is really about, well, what happens if an aircraft is struck by lightning? The answer to that really is, in fact, that the aircraft are tested to the level where it can, or they can, withstand a lightning strike. They're designed to withstand a lightning strike. In fact, if you look at the wing of an aircraft and the tail, you'll see some little metal wires which come out from the trailing edge. That's the back edge of the airfoils. And those are called static wick discharges. And the reason they're there is so they can conduct the electricity. So if the aircraft is struck by lightning, it absorbs the energy and dissipates the energy through these static wick discharges. So in summary, there's not a problem. The aircraft are built to withstand lightning strikes. What can happen, though, quite often, is it does make an awful crack. You get a real cracking sound on the aircraft, and of course, if you're not expecting it, then that you may find somewhat alarming. But in terms of the structural integrity of the aircraft, not in question. No, it's absolutely fine.
Oh, good. I'll look out for those wires next time we're getting on a plane.
Yeah, no, if you do, I mean, specifically if you board up the rear steps of the aircraft, just look forward towards the wing, and you'll see those on the aircraft. Anybody can do that, and that's exactly what they're for. They dissipate the lightning, really. And the other thing to mention is that the autopilots and the electrical systems of the aircraft are so well shielded in terms of interference and bits and pieces that actually it's basically a non-event. The autopilot. I've been flying. I've got thousands of hours of flying experience. I don't think not once has the autopilot ever fallen out due to bad weather, whether it be turbulence or whether it be sort of lightning. And to be honest, that's just really a credit to the way how well shielded the electrical systems are. So it just goes to show that the way the aircraft are manufactured to withstand this sort of activity and lightning, it really does go to show that they do a super job. They're very well done.
Great. Finally, how can the listeners find out more about your courses?
A number of ways, really. The best thing to do is to go onto the website, which is www.fearlessflyer.easyjet.com. If they can't remember that, because it's a bit of a mouthful, if they just type in Fearless Flyer into their favourite search engine, Fearless Flyer and Easyjet, or even just Fearless Flyer, it'll come up probably the first or second item on the list. There's a website there. It's got information about the course specifically, about the individuals on the course in terms of meeting the team, find out a little bit more about Lawrence and myself. It's also got future courses on there at the moment. And there's also an opportunity that if you want to register interest in different areas, for example, you can also do that with your choice of airport. So what we'll do is make sure that when the courses are released for next year, we make sure that we cater for everybody as best we can. But like I say, it's a national thing. We've got courses. The next course is coming out really. We've got Gatwick on the 11th and 12th, Manchester on the 18th, 19th. Liverpool is, I think, on the 8th and 9th of November. I've already mentioned Stansted on the 15th of November. and then there's Glasgow on the 22nd and 23rd of November. So we're pretty full for the next month, but there are still some spaces left. So if you do want to book, it's an ideal time to pop on the website and book away.
Okay, great. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for your time.
No problem, John. Thanks ever so much.
Well, that's it for another John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Just to remind you that any website mentioned during this show will be listed at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. We're all volunteers here at Seclo Sounds, and we couldn't operate without the help from our partners. One of our partners is Interaction MK, and Seclo Sounds is actually based at the Old Rectory, which is the home of Interaction MK. They have been bringing the arts to life in Milton Keynes for over 35 years. They use the arts to improve the life chances of disabled people and others in challenging circumstances through shared curated activity. Their programs help participants to develop creative, personal and social skills, and we're very grateful for the support that they give us. Don't forget to join me next time on the John Guinn Travel Show. It's going to be on 12 o'clock Mondays on seclosound.org. The John Guinn Travel Show on seclosounds.org. Checking it out before you check in.
Around the
MK Pulse proudly sponsors Seclo Sounds. MK Pulse is Milton Keynes' local magazine, bringing helpful information on food, health, fashion, money, travel, culture, and much more to 66,000 readers every month. Plus news, views, and what's on from around the city. If it's happening in Milton Keynes, it's in MK Pulse, and it's available online at www.mkpulse.co.uk. MK Pulse and Seclo Sounds, the heart and soul of the city.